A quick overview of the RJM portal. So on here it shows you your progress, how well you're doing, how many vehicles you've done each month, or today, this week, or this month. You can add money up here. You can credit your account. In here you can put any amount you want and then click pay and put your card details in. Most people put in what they're going to use that week or this month. It just means you'll get one single invoice for that amount. Rather than an invoice for each vehicle you can do. So it just saves on the paperwork adding one sum of money. But you can, if you wish, just pay for each vehicle as you go. Here is a vehicle Bosch search. So if you don't know what a Bosch ECU is, as in the EDC 17 or 16 number, you can type in the 0281 number in here and keep going, and it will actually tell you. So if you type in all the digits, it tells you exactly what ECU it is. So if I pick one of these there, and do 017 and 419. That's the number for EDC 17C46. So then you would know that it's an ECD 17C46. So that's what you can then read it as. Let's go to upload a file. So you go to upload here. You can do it two ways. You can either search with a reg, but it costs 15p, or you can search it manually. So we're doing a Ford Transit today. So we're going to pick Ford. I'm going to pick Transit. I'm going to pick that year, and it's a 2 litre 130. Tells you all the details of the vehicle. It tells you what it could either have a SID 211 ECU or a SID 208 ECU. It tells you what tools cover these ECUs, and then it gives you a link to the manufacturer's website, and it shows you the coverage in there. Or if you want to pay the 15p and just have it tell you everything automatically, you can just put a reg in and then it gives you all the information. And see how the ECUs have changed based on this. But I know that this is SID 212, so what you can actually do is just click that. So it's a 211. Click that and it actually puts the reg number in, the ECU number in there. Because as you're going down, you basically just need to fill that form out. Now you know what vehicle it is. You'd go down. It's an ECU file. You've got the reg number there. It's already populated because we put it in there. But if it's not, you can just type it in. ECU type is whatever ECU it is. In this case, it's a 211. Or you can type in here, SID 211. You can do it manually. Is it a manual or an auto? This is a manual ECU. And this is where you drag your file. You can even drag it and drop it out of here, like this. Or you can just click on it and it opens up this box again, and you can just select that file that you want to upload. It's going to ask you what tool you read it with. This was read with Auto Tuner and it was OBD. You then have to click that you are a professional. And once everything's filled out on this screen, this is all the vehicle details and the file, you click next. And at this point, it's going to ask you what you want to do to it. Now, do you want to do no tuning? So you don't want a performance increase. All you want is deletes, then that's what you would do. You tick what you wanted here. It tells you that you need to remove the DPF internals. Always read these warnings. I understand. We're going to do an EGR delete. I understand. And we're going to do AdBlue delete as well. So it says here, check the knowledge base for any unplugged info. This is illegal for road use in most countries, so just check with your country whether or not it's legal. I understand, but the knowledge base thing is important for checking for unplugs. I understand. So we're doing DPF, EGR, AdBlue, and that's currently no tuning. Let's say you wanted to do a stage 1 with it, we'd tick stage 1 and DPF, EGR, AdBlue. Yeah. So whatever's ticked in here is what you're going to get. So this is stage 1, we've ticked DPF, EGR, AdBlue. And once you're happy with that, you click submit. If there was any specific comments you wanted to add in here, like, I don't know, like this is already tuned, or anything that you wanted to be read, and any of the file writers you want to have us read, you could put in there, or you could ask for any specific requirement in there. If it's an absolute must that we must read your comment for whatever reason, you need to click stop file automation. Yeah, this means it'll slow the file return down. It just means it doesn't go through the automatic process. So that means if you've ticked that, we have to read your comment, whatever that comment may be. But in this case, we're not going to make a comment because it's just a standard DPF EGR AdBlue and stage 1. If you need any specific fault codes removing that aren't related to the delete you're doing, so let's say it's an intake cam fault code, you could tick the specific DTC, and then you would click I understand, and you would do 0341 camshaft position sensor. You put that in there, and then it would remove that code as well. But yeah, you would only generally put in codes that are not related to the delete you're doing. So if it's a DPF you delete you're doing, you don't need to put DPF codes in, unless it's a really uncommon DPF code, one you've never ever seen before. You don't need to put it in. So we're going to untick that. We're going to untick that, and we're just doing stage 1 DPF EGR AdBlue, and then no comments in this, and we're going to click submit. I'm going to wait for that to process. And then it's pending there. Now what's happening now is the portal is automatically trying to process the file. And if it can return your file automatically, it will do. It usually takes about a minute to automatically process a file. And then it'll send you it back. You can actually go in and view it. It's not there yet. So we'll go back and we'll just wait on this screen. We know it's pending, which means someone's actually looked at it or something's happening with it. And then eventually, once that file has been processed, it's going to return your file back. And this is just a history of every vehicle that has been done, that you've done. You can look through all the vehicles that have been previously done by yourself. And if you did need to go in and have a redo on anything, if you had any problems with a particular vehicle at any point, you can just go in here. Let's look at this Ford Ranger, for example. We'll go into it, and you can just write in your comment here, this has code 0341, or you do P0341, can you remove? And you click send, and that would then open up our end, and it would continue like a chat function. So it basically, this just looks like WhatsApp. Any messages or comments, you can just have a full conversation in here. And the beauty about that is we actually know what vehicle we're talking about. So if you send me a message about a vehicle we've done a month ago, we won't remember doing the vehicle. But if you make a comment on the file, that information is all here. We know exactly what was done. We know exactly what fault codes was removed. We know about any conversation. Let's say the vehicle didn't start afterwards. In a year's time, we can look back, see the conversation we had about that particular vehicle. So that's why it's a good idea to just any comments to try and keep them on the actual file itself. And then yeah, once that file comes back, we will see what that looks like. Okay. So at this point, we have the file come back, so it says it's returned. So we can click and view that file, and it's asking us now we need to click and pay it. So we will just click pay. You can download the invoice for the file, or you can click pay now. If we'd have already had credit in our account, it would have basically taken the credit off our account, and then the file would already be in here. So that's why it's a good idea to have credit in your account already, because then you don't have to each time click and pay now. It would just automatically give you the file. But we'll just sort the payment out for this. Okay, so I've credited the account for this. We'll go in here, we can see we've got £100 in the account. I'm just going to click pay now, and that will just come off my account. And then here's my new file to download. There. I've downloaded the file, and then you can feel free to write that to the vehicle. If, let's say, you needed a redo because you flashed it to the vehicle, and let's say you still had fault code P20EE, which is an AdBlue code, you could say this code is still on, please remove. And you would send that, and that would come through to us, and then we would reply back to you saying, here's a new file with the code removed. and that's basically how that works. And you could then put, no, it's okay, it's cleared, click send, and you can just basically have a normal chat like you would there, and we would respond to this chat as well, anything you would need. And that's, you would find that in downloads here. So that's uploads. This is where you upload a file, and this is where all your files are stored in here. And you can see this one here, it's pending because we've sent a message to us, and when we reply to you, it will say returned, and it will pop up in this chat here. And this is stored indefinitely, so we'll be able to see this chat in 3 years' time. If the vehicle comes back in and you want to look what was done and what problems we had with it, it's all stored. The other important place to look is your invoices. Your invoices are all stored in here, so you can download invoices as you go. The knowledge base is a really important feature of the portal. You'd go in there, and any AdBlue job, particularly AdBlue, you would just search either a model or an ECU. So you could search transit. Spelling's not very good today. Transit, and it lists everything we've got on a transit here. So there's a couple, so that's about the SID 212 ECU, this is about the 211 ECU, and that's about the 209 ECU, this is the 212 ECU again. Or, so you'd, let's say, search the transit, or you could search the ECU, so SID 211. There only is one there to look at. So you view it, and it says no unplugs needed. So on that particular vehicle, you don't need to do anything further. That's just it done. If you were to search something like MD1CS003, it lists all the different vehicles that have that ECU or have that information about it. You can just click on one, and it tells you that you must remove the 30 amp fuse from under the bonnet. And it tells you must get the connectors off, you must use WD-40, shows you where the fuse is, and it also tells you about how you need to do a DeNOx reset. And there's a video at the bottom here, you can click and watch the video on how to do a DeNOx reset on one of those. And that's it really. That's the portal. The knowledge base is a really useful piece of kit. It's worthwhile going through in here and just reading every single one of them, because there's so much info in there. We add and change stuff to it every single day. So, like, you know, it just constantly changes. There's a tractor, the AdBlue ECU connector. There's loads of stuff. If there's no unplugs, it tells you there's no unplugs. And if there's not an ECU in here, as in you search for the model and the ECU and there's nothing, it's safe to assume there is no unplugs. So that's the knowledge base that is found down here in the sidebar. Back to your dashboard up here, all this information. That's what vehicle data is, where you search for what power figures you would make. You can either search in there in the reg lookup, or you can search manually like that, and it shows you what power it's going to make. Do I still have that in here? Yes, I do. I'll search that again. Tells you what power it makes on stage 1 and what options are available. Often we do have more options available on this for a particular ECU, but you'd have to get in touch if it's not listed. But it's safe to say if it's ticked here, we can do it. On a vehicle that has stage 2 and stage 3 options, there'll be a little tick box here for stage 2 and stage 3, and it'll show you the different power figures. The other thing we have is the shop, which just lists all the other tools that we stock and sell. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, let me know.